Welcome back. Let's examine now how joins work in the database. Let's take a look at this simple example that we have. We have two small tables, one table called student has class with three attributes, student ID, class ID, and the grade of the student in the class. And we have another table that contains the class information. Two columns, class ID for the class and the name of the class in the second column. What we want to do is the following. We want to combine these two tables and find the class name for all the classes that each student is taking. You'll see now that we have the student ID, the class ID, and what we want to do now is for each of those class IDs, we want to search the class table for this class ID and find the corresponding class name. How can we do that in SQL? We are going to use the join construct, and we are going to start with what we call inner join. Focus first on the from part of the SQL. So far, in the from part, we are putting just a single table. In the joins, we are going to change that. For the join, we put the tables that we need, and we put inner join in between. So we write from student has class as S, inner join class as C. And then after, we write on, and then we write how we are going to combine these two tables. In our example, we are going to combine these two tables by matching them on the class ID attribute. In other words, we want the attribute class ID from the table class to match with the attribute class ID from the table student has class. So we write S dot class ID is equal to C dot class ID with S and C. Notice they are shortcuts that refer to student has class and class tables respectively. Notice how we define the naming shortcut. After student has class, we put as S to give a shortcut name to the table, and we put as C after class to give the C shortcut to the class table. So we can write now the condition as S dot class ID is equal to C dot class ID without having to repeat the full names of these tables. Let's see the results of the query. We take first the student has class table, and let's see what the join is doing. First row, we have student ID 1, class ID 1. We now look for class ID 1 in the class table. Class ID 1 corresponds to algebra. So the select clause asks for student ID and class to appear in the output. So we put in the output student ID 1 and algebra in the output. Second row of the table, student ID 2, class ID 1. Again, we look up class ID 1 in class table, we get algebra. So we have student ID 2 and algebra in the output. Again, third row, student ID 3, class ID 1, same process, student ID 3 and algebra in the output. Fourth row, student ID 2, class ID 2, we look up class ID 2, its analysis. So student ID 2 and analysis in the output. Fifth row, student ID 1, class ID 3, we look up class ID 3, it's physics, so student ID 1 and physics in the output. And sixth row, student ID 1, class ID 4, we look up class ID 4, it's history, so student ID 1 and history in the output. This is the basic process of how a join works. We put tables that we need in the from part of the SQL statement, and then we put inner join in between. Then we specify how the tables are connected using the on part, and typically we use shortcut names for the tables to run the join condition after on. In our next video, we are going to run a few examples to familiarize ourselves with the join operation. Until then, play around and practice. See you next time.